Welcome to Crafty Chemist Designs. Today I have a great project for you. But first, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that you can see every time I drop a new video. On with the project. Here is a really quick way to make 6 cards out of one sheet of designer series paper. What you need to do is find a sheet of designer series paper that has this beautiful sort of frame around it, okay? And then what we're going to do is cut these into 4-inch strips. Like so. So now we have 3 4-inch strips. Take the pieces that are from the top and the bottom, and we're going to cut this into 5 1/4-inch pieces. So you can put the end here at 5 1/4 and cut, but you may want to decide where you want to make the cut, depending on the print on the paper. So for example, if I make the cut right here, which is at 5 1/4, I'm going to have a little bit of white space here, but I've got a lot of print here and not so much here. So what I'm going to do is to try and cut it maybe here, and then the 5 1/4 will be very close to here. So let's cut it just in half. So this is at 6 inches. Okay. And then I can decide. So if I cut it here at 5 1/4, that seems about pretty good. But you know what? I think I might make it so that this whole pear is in the picture. So I'm just going to kind of fussy cut from both sides until I get it to where I like it. I still think that that's a little bit too much, so let's cut it just a little bit more like here. There we go. Now I'll get it at 5 1/4. Okay, so I'm happy with this piece. Let's get this side. And now this one I'm probably going to make portrait because of how this is. So I think I'm going to cut it, right here. So I want it at the top. Let's try it at the top of the pear here and see what it looks like if I cut it here. Okay, that's a pretty... Okay, so here's another 5 1/4-inch piece. So see, I'm kind of fussy cutting around the designs. Now let's take the other piece, and I'll do it very similar. Let's cut it in half. And then I could make it going vertical this way. Let's cut it at the top of this pear. No, let's make it at 5 1/4 here. I don't know, I feel that's too big at the bottom, so let's cut a 1/4 inch off here. You don't have to spend this much time fussy cutting if you don't want to. You can just cut it wherever you want. So this is pretty. One more. I'm going to cut about a 1/4 inch off the bottom here. And then see where that gets me at 5 1/4 here. Okay, so these are 4 pieces. So these are the corner pieces. Now this one is a little bit easier. So you just move this at 5 1/4. Because this is definitely going to be portrait this way, and you have the white space up at the top. And then we'll turn it around and cut this at 5 1/4. Okay, so now we have 6 beautiful pieces. 2 of them are like this, with a lot of white space and just the print down the bottom. But these ones kind of go around the corners. So that one's nice there. This one I think I could put, well, I don't know. That pear probably wants to be up and down. Yeah, I think these are all going to be portrait because of the pears. The pears go up and down. Okay, so you can see I have 6 different pieces cut that are 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so you have to do very little decorating on these card fronts because you let that framed design really do all the work for you. So what I did is I took 3 different pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock of colors that were in this paper. So in this paper, there's Mossy Meadow, there's Secret Sea, and there's Old Olive, okay? I could have also used Petal Pink, but I didn't have any 8.5 by 11 Petal Pink, so I did have these. So what I'm going to do now is just cut these in half. At the 5 1/2 marking. So I have 2 Mossy Meadow, 2 Old Olive, so I'm cutting these at 5 1/2, and then 2 Secret Sea. You can use all the same color if you want to. Now I am going to score these at 4 1/4 along the long side, or you can just fold them in half if you want to. I like to give them the score first so that I can make kind of a sharper edge in the fold. So these now are 8 1/2 inch on the long side. So I'm cutting these at 4, or not cutting them, but scoring them at 4 1/4. Okay, and now I'm just going to fold these in half along the score lines and use my Stampin' Up bone folder and burnish the edges so that I get a nice crease. Okay, and then here is the 6th one. Now, all we need to do is attach our card fronts that we cut from that pattern paper and attach them to our card bases. I'm going to make the 2 that were from the center pieces and put them on the Secret Sea because I feel like the blue leaves are very prominent in this particular design. So I feel like it's a good base. Okay, now let's look at these other ones. I think I'm going to do these 2 on the Old Olive. I feel like they've got a little bit lighter look to them. And you can see how quickly these are going together. if they do have a direction, you want to make sure that they're going to open up the way that you want with the direction that you want. So my pears are, you know, in a portrait orientation, so I make sure that I'm having the open on the side. Okay, and then the last ones I'm putting on Mossy Meadow. And the last one. Okay, so there you have it. We've got 3 plus 3, 6 card bases that are ready to go. Now the fun begins. We can start decorating these. This suite is called Painterly Pears. And another great thing about this suite is that there is a sheet of paper here where you could take the dies from the stamp set bundle and cut out the pears and the leaves from the paper. So it makes it really easy to do some decorations. So let's cut some of these out. I'm going to get my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine out. And I am going to cut around, like there is a die that fits this, so let's cut one of these out. So I'm going to cut these 3 out. That'll be good for 2 cards. Let's cut these 3 out. This will be good for another 2 cards. That's 4. This one is whole, so I can use that for one of them. I'm going to save these because I can use those on a pear. And then let's cut this one out. So that should be enough for 6 cards. Okay, so let's see. We can do these 3, I think, at once if we're brave. I cut the big pear out with this. Well, I'm not sure I can get the die there, so let's just cut these 2 out. I think if I try to use this die, it's going to get in the way of these other ones. So I'm just going to cut all of these out. And then I will come back on and decorate. Okay, I'm done cutting out the pears. I was thinking on these ones, since there's a lot of white space, that I might cut out some circles for the sentiments. So let's cut out two. Let me see what size we want. Is that big enough or? Let's see, I might do this one. And we'll see. Cut two of these. And then I will need two white pieces. And so I will use the next one in on my white for the sentiments. There's one. And two. Obviously, how you decorate this is going to be dependent on the paper suite that you used. You could use stamp sets, you could use stickers, or you could cut designs from the paper, like I did. Okay, let's see where we are. Let's start with these. I think well, I'm thinking maybe something like that might be nice. Okay, let's cut two old olive and let's do two. I don't really like these on here. Okay, now let's cut out two circles with these. Okay, let's cut two mats, circle mats for our Mossy Meadow cards. Okay. And let's do two mats for our old olive cards. Okay, now we'll need two of each, so four total for our cards out of white. 2 more. Okay, so I cut 2 Secret Sea circles, 2 Mossy Meadow, 2 Old Olive circles for the mats, and then I cut 6 basic white circles for the sentiments. Okay, now all we need to do is add some sentiments to our card fronts. Let's start with the 2 from the center that have the Secret Sea backgrounds. I think I'm going to do A Good Friend as a Gift. Use Secret Sea. Now I know that I'm going to want to put these around here, so I'm going to try and put it on the left-hand side of the circle as much as I can. Okay. Let's attach these to the Secret Sea base. Okay. And I think I'm going to pop these up with dimensionals. And since this card is pretty centered, I'm going to center it right there. Let's try this one. They're basically identical, so let's see. I think I like it that way the best. So what I'm going to do is put adhesive on the left side and then maybe a one-dimensional on the right side to keep it popped up a little bit, as such. There you go. There's one. And 2. So cute. Okay, now let's do the ones that are the Mossy Meadow. I love these. And I've got the Mossy Meadow mats and here. And I think for these ones, which one looks better? That one or this one? I think I'm going to do these ones again. And let's see if there's a different sentiment. Let's just do hello. Okay. Take this one off. Hello is that way. Okay. Again, I'm going to bring in the Secret C, although I'm just going to keep them all. Should I do it in Mossy Meadow? I think for these ones, I'm going to use Mossy Meadow ink because I've got the Mossy Meadow mats and card backs. And again, I'm going to make this a little bit to the left of center because I'm going to put the pear on there. Pop these up on dimensionals. Oh, not this one. This one. Put it about there. Put regular adhesive on here. And then again, we'll test it out, but which one do we like better? Yeah, I like that one. I'm going to put adhesive on this side and then a dimensional here. So nice. Okay, let's do this one. Pop this up. The nice thing about these cards is basically the paper does all of the work for you. This paper is so beautiful. You don't need very much. Just the sentiment. And then even these were cut out from the paper, so okay, 2 down, 2 more. These ones, I use the Old Olive base. And on these ones, I'm going to have to use the bigger pears because that's what I have cut out. So I'm going to put this sentiment, I think, to the right. Okay, so let's see, what sentiment do we have left? I can do I think it'll take a thank you. Hello, and I think this one is the thank you. Yes, the thank you. And I'll use Mossy Meadow on these ones too, because it's got the green color. Even though that's old olive, it does have Mossy Meadow in the darker parts. The Secret Sea is not as prevalent in that. Thank you. I love the font on these. It's so elegant. Clean off our stamps well. Okay. Let's give that a little bit of time to dry so it doesn't smear. I'll work on popping these up. Okay. Oh, my fingers are wet from the thing. Okay. There we go. Thank you. This one, I don't think I'm gonna, maybe if I have a mini, I don't have a mini here. Put it right on the edge. So I'm going to have this overlap pretty much on that sentiment circle. There we go. Okay. And then put this on. Okay. One more. Pop this one up. Okay, make sure there's room for the pear. Nice. Last one, the leaves. Okay, I feel like these ones, I need a little bit of something there. I think I'm just going to put there we go. Kind of breaks up the white space there. Okay. These are the Earth Tones Shimmer Gems. They might be retired or out of stock. Okay, so here are all of the cards. Six cards from one sheet of pattern paper that went around the perimeter. Let the paper do the work for you. I've decided on these two that I might add some Secret-See gems just here in this white space. I think it just gives it a little bit of a finishing touch. And these are the 2025, 2027 in color flat pearls. So these are flat, so you can put them on cards and still mail them. It doesn't really add too much bulk. So I don't think these ones need it, but I felt this one did. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the project. You can purchase any of the items discussed in the video at my website, thecraftychemist.stampinup.net. I have a Facebook business page, Crafty Chemist Designs, where I go live and do demos every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time. I also have a Facebook VIP group called The Crafty Chemist Presents Stampin' Up, where you can post your work, ask questions, and have a good time. You can also find me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Crafty Chemist Designs. And my blog is periodicallycrafty.blogspot.com.